I'm going to sue his ass off. These are the raw, unfiltered words of President Donald Trump. But this fiery declaration of war wasn't aimed at a political adversary on the debate stage. No, this threat was hurled directly at one of the most powerful and influential media titans on the entire planet, Rupert Murdoch. And the price tag attached to this threat is almost beyond comprehension: $10 billion.
This is not just another fleeting headline in our chaotic news cycle. This is a legal bombshell, a declaration of total war sparked by an investigative report from the Wall Street Journal, a report that detailed a secret leather-bound album, a supposedly body letter, and a crudely hand-drawn picture of a naked woman, allegedly signed by Donald Trump himself, all intricately connected to the dark and disturbing world of the infamous predator, Jeffrey Epstein. We are witnessing a truly unprecedented moment in modern American history. A sitting president of the United States is personally suing a major, globally respected news organization for defamation. This is far more than a simple legal dispute over an article. It represents a fundamental clash between the immense, concentrated power of the presidency and the foundational principles of a free and independent press, a cornerstone of democratic society. So, the question that hangs heavy in the air is, what is actually going on here? Today, we are going to peel back every single layer of this explosive, high-stakes lawsuit. We will delve deep into the shocking and bizarre details of the letter and drawing that triggered this political and legal firestorm. We will meticulously analyze the formidable legal fortress that Donald Trump's team must somehow breach to have even a ghost of a chance of winning this $10 billion gamble. And perhaps most importantly, we will explore the darker, more sinister context that lurks just beneath the surface, the ever-present haunting shadow of Jeffrey Epstein, and what this monumental fight truly reveals about Trump's ongoing, relentless war on what he has branded the fake news media. The fuse for this $10 billion explosion was lit by a single article published on a Thursday by the Wall Street Journal. The piece was the product of deep investigative work by two reporters, Khadija Safdar and Joe Palazzolo. Their story centered on a truly peculiar artifact, a leather-bound album of letters. This wasn't just any album. It was reportedly compiled by the now-convicted Ghislaine Maxwell as a special 50th birthday present for her partner in crime, Jeffrey Epstein, back in the year 2003. Let's pause on that date for a moment. 2003. This was long before Epstein's name became synonymous with unimaginable evil. This was 3 years before his first arrest in Florida, at a time when he was still successfully masquerading as a brilliant, eccentric, high-flying financier, a man who collected powerful friends like trophies. And nestled within this birthday album, according to documents the Journal claims to have reviewed, was a contribution allegedly from Donald J. Trump. The article describes a body letter, but the most stunning part, the detail that sent shockwaves through the media, was the accompanying visual. The Journal's report describes it with chilling precision. It contains several lines of typewritten text framed by the outline of a naked woman, which appears to be hand-drawn with a heavy marker. A pair of small arcs denotes the woman's breasts, and the future president's signature is a squiggly Donald below her waist, mimicking pubic hair. Let that image sink in. The description is so specific, so graphic, and so deeply bizarre that it's almost difficult to process. The article further reports that an accompanying letter was styled as an imaginary conversation between Trump and Epstein, adding yet another layer of strangeness to the alleged correspondence. The Wall Street Journal didn't just pull this from thin air. They made it clear they had reviewed documents, giving their explosive report a foundation of journalistic sourcing that Trump would immediately seek to demolish. The presidential counterattack was not long in coming. It was swift, furious, and amplified through his personal megaphone, the social media platform Truth Social. In a digital roar, Trump announced the lawsuit, branding it a powerhouse lawsuit against everyone involved. He didn't hold back, labeling the venerable Wall Street Journal a useless rag
and its meticulously reported story as a false, malicious, defamatory, fake news article. In a masterstroke of political messaging, he framed this deeply personal legal fight not as an act of self-interest, but as a noble crusade. This lawsuit is filed not only on behalf of your favorite president, M.E., he wrote, but also in order to continue standing up for all Americans who will no longer tolerate the abusive wrongdoings of the fake news media. His denials of the article's core claims were absolute and personal. In an interview with the Journal itself, he was unequivocal. It's a fake Wall Street Journal story. He later elaborated, stating, "These are not my words, not the way I talk."
Also, I don't draw pictures. He also made the conflict intensely personal, claiming he had warned Rupert Murdoch directly before the story ran. "I told Rupert Murdoch it was a scam, that he shouldn't print this fake story," Trump posted, but he did. And then came the threat that he would make good on just one day later. "And now I'm going to sue his ass off and that of his third-rate newspaper." The lawsuit, filed in the Southern District of Florida, names not just the reporters in the newspaper, but Murdoch himself, his company News Corp, and its top executives. The legal filing formally claims the reporting will cause overwhelming financial and reputational harm to the president, launching one of the most significant legal battles between a president and the press in a century. This is a showdown between two of the most powerful forces in modern America, the president and the press. If you're as gripped by this story as we are, show some support by hitting that like button. It tells us you want more deep dives into the stories that truly matter. The Wall Street Journal and its parent company, Dow Jones, met this presidential onslaught not with panic, but with a cool, collected statement of defiance. A spokesperson for Dow Jones responded to the $10 billion lawsuit with a concise and unwavering defense of their journalism. "We have full confidence in the rigor and accuracy of our reporting," the statement read, "and will vigorously defend against any lawsuit." This wasn't a flustered denial, it was a gauntlet thrown down. It was the response of a seasoned, powerful institution that fully anticipated this fight and is prepared to see it through. This calm resolve sets the stage for a monumental legal war. On one side, you have the President of the United States, with the power of his office and a fiercely loyal base. On the other, a global media empire with vast resources and a reputation for tough investigative journalism. It's a classic unstoppable force meets an immovable object scenario, and the entire world is watching to see which one will break first. This brings us to the $10 billion question. Beyond all the political theater and angry rhetoric, can Donald Trump actually win this lawsuit? The simple answer is that he faces a legal mountain so steep it is considered by most experts to be virtually unclimbable. To win a defamation case, a public figure, and there is no one more public than the President of the United States, must prove something called actual malice. This legal standard is the bedrock of American libel law, established in the landmark 1964 Supreme Court case, New York Times versus Sullivan. Actual malice doesn't mean the reporters were mean or had ill will. It means Trump's lawyers must prove, with clear and convincing evidence, one of two things. Either that the Wall Street Journal and its reporters knew the story was false when they published it, or that they published it with a reckless disregard for the truth. This is an incredibly high bar. To put this in perspective, the Supreme Court in 1964 intentionally set this standard to protect the free press from being silenced by powerful officials who could use the threat of costly lawsuits to suppress critical coverage. Trump's lawyers wouldn't just need to find a flaw in the reporting, they would need to prove a state of mind. They'd need to demonstrate, through memos, emails, or testimony, that the reporters and their editors privately acknowledged, "We have serious doubts this is true, but let's publish it anyway." It's a standard designed to separate malicious lies from honest mistakes made in the chaotic pursuit of the truth. The lawsuit's unprecedented nature is a key part of the story. First Amendment attorney Ted Boutrous stated it plainly to CNN. "As far as I can tell, no sitting president has ever sued a reporter or media outlet or media executive for allegedly defaming him." He pointed out the obvious. When you have the presidential bully pulpit, you simply don't need to sue to get to the truth. But other experts see a more chilling motive at play. University of Richmond law professor Carl Tobias warned that these continued attacks on the press could have a profound chilling effect on news organizations. He argued that Trump's actions undermine the First Amendment by making the media and others more cautious in covering Trump, his administration, and other federal and state politicians. The goal, therefore, may not be to win in court, but to win the war of attrition, to make the process of reporting on him so costly, so time-consuming, and so legally perilous that news outlets simply back off. To truly understand the intensity of this fight, we must look at the dark shadow that looms over the entire affair, Jeffrey Epstein. The Wall Street Journal story did not appear in a vacuum. It landed in a public square already rife with suspicion, conspiracy, and outrage over the Epstein case and his powerful connections. Trump's own history with Epstein has been a subject of intense scrutiny. This lawsuit also comes at a time when, according to the article, the president's loyal MAGA base has been up in arms about how the Epstein investigation has been handled. This includes the actions of his own attorney general, Pam Bondi, who claimed back in February that she had Epstein's infamous list on her desk, a claim that has yet to bear public fruit. Trump himself has played a complicated game. On the campaign trail, he has repeatedly questioned the official narrative of Epstein's death by suicide in jail and has vowed to declassify files related to the sprawling investigation, feeding the narrative of a deep state cover-up that resonates powerfully with his supporters. This lawsuit, then, can be seen as an aggressive move to control the narrative around his connection to Epstein, turning from a position of defense to one of offense by attacking the credibility of anyone reporting on it. He is attempting to cast himself as the victim of a media smear campaign that is using the ghost of Epstein to damage him politically. It's a complex and high-risk strategy that ties his political fate even more tightly to one of the most sordid scandals of the 21st century. Finally, it's crucial to see this $10 billion lawsuit not as an isolated event, but as a single battle in a much broader war. On the very same day that Trump's lawyers filed the suit against the Journal, a federal judge handed him a significant legal defeat, dismissing a separate lawsuit he had brought against the veteran journalist Bob Woodward and his publisher, Simon & Schuster. That particular lawsuit against Woodward revolved around the release of audio interview tapes as an audiobook, with Trump claiming he had not consented to their publication in that specific format. The federal judge summarily dismissed the case, finding no legal merit in the president's claims. This prior legal defeat is not just a historical footnote, it's a stark preview of the immense challenges his legal team faces. It underscores a pattern of using the legal system as a form of public relations and intimidation, even when the legal foundations are shaky. It suggests that the goal might not be a courtroom victory, which experts see as nearly impossible, but rather the process itself, forcing the Journal into a long, expensive, and draining legal fight. This context is vital. It paints a picture of a strategy that involves launching multiple legal attacks against media figures and organizations, hoping one might stick, or, at the very least, create a constant state of chaos and expense for his perceived enemies. It is a war fought on multiple fronts. The article notes other moves, such as Congress rolling back $9 billion in public media funding, which critics see as part of the same pattern of weakening institutional checks on power. The strategy appears to be less about the merits of any single case and more about creating a climate of fear. It's a war of attrition designed to exhaust the resources and the will of the press. So as this historic case moves forward, the central question remains: is this lawsuit a genuine, good-faith attempt by Donald Trump to clear his name and seek justice for what he passionately believes is a defamatory lie? Or is this a masterclass in political theater, a calculated, explosive performance designed to rally his base, intimidate his critics in the press, and hijack the news cycle with a legal spectacle of his own making? The outcome of this case could define the boundaries between the presidency and the press for a generation. To stay on top of this story and understand its profound implications,
Make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. We want to hear from you. What do you think is the true motivation behind this $10 billion lawsuit?
Drop your theories in the comments below.